Chapter 20. Jonathan seemed to have recalled something as well, and his Adam's apple bobbed. After a while, he finally explained, Alicia and I aren't what you think. Our two families have been friends for generations, so some things are just unavoidable. I know where the line is, you don't have to explain, I interrupted. If you're feeling guilty because you didn't save me when I fell in the pool, and thus don't want to get a divorce and want to make it up to me, that's just not necessary. Shaking my head, I continued, you'd be better off giving me more compensation during the divorce. Jonathan and I parted on bad terms again that day. I just couldn't figure out why he didn't want to divorce me. He clearly loved Alicia, just as clearly as he disliked me. So, wouldn't getting a divorce be exactly what he was hoping for? I couldn't quite make sense of his thoughts, but I also didn't want to make sense of them anymore either. For the past few days, I had been apartment hunting. I didn't know if it was because I had pissed Jonathan off that day, but he hadn't come home in days. But that was fine. I didn't want to see him anyway. I was in the middle of looking at rental listings when I received a call from Gabrielle. Elise, are you free to talk? Yup. What's up? HR asked you to come into the office. They said there's a task for you. Gabrielle's voice lowered into a whisper. They said they couldn't get in touch with you, so they had me try. Do you want to come in? After graduating, Gabrielle had become employed at Millenia based on her own capabilities. Unlike me, the lovesick fool who had only gone to work just to keep an eye on her husband, Gabrielle genuinely liked her job. I didn't want to make things difficult for her, so I went straight to the office. Even though I had amnesia, the muscle memory was still there. Millenia was foreign to me, but when I walked through the building, I didn't need any directions, and a lot of small details seemed to still ring a bell. I made my way to Jonathan's office with practiced precision, but before I could head in, I heard Alicia's deliberately saccharine voice coming from inside again. Jonathan, I have an idea about that project from last time. I had found her in Jonathan's office the last time I came here, and here she was yet again. I had to admit that this plan of hers was quite smart. She claimed to want to work at his company, but in reality, she merely wanted a way to be closer to him. Even an idiot could tell what her goal was, and yet Jonathan couldn't tell, though it likely wasn't that he couldn't tell, and more that he didn't want to. As I stood by the door and watched them talk, I deliberated filming their interactions with my phone and keeping it as evidence to be used during the divorce proceedings. Alicia was always impeccably dressed, as she had always put a lot of thought into her outfits. There was nothing I could say about that, since it was only natural to care about one's appearance. However, whenever she was with Jonathan, she would always tug her neckline down a bit and pretend to accidentally reveal a little something extra. Then, she would quickly place her hand over her bosom and pretend to be embarrassed, telling Jonathan, I'm sorry, Jonathan. My clothes are a bit loose today. Was I being inappropriate? Today, however, Jonathan didn't even glance at her and continued to look at the documents in his hand. You can bring up any ideas you have. I raised an eyebrow. I wasn't even next to them. So why was Jonathan pretending to be all proper? Everyone already assumed that the two of them were involved anyway. So why still draw such a clear line in private? Who was this act even for? Alicia furrowed her delicate brows. I've been involved with this project for a while now, and there are no problems. But if this road cuts through this path, it might harm the local ecology. She then plastered on a worried look, as if she were afraid that he'd admonish her. I'm sorry, Jonathan. I made the call to change the route without running it past you. Is that okay? That township has a very nice ecosystem, and there are a lot of adorable little animals around. We lived in estates like that when we were young too. Children love little animals. I don't want to destroy that kind of environment. I scoffed. Alicia was clearly trying to show Jonathan how kind-hearted she could be. After all, men always liked women who were innocent and harmless. She really was pulling out all the stops.